What's going on, guys? This is Costi from Tales from the Ticket, episode number 17. It must be football because we have Chris Ruffolo, Al McMordie on the show. We're going to dive into football season, talk about strategies, how to attack the season, do a little season preview. I mean, it is here, week 0 in a couple days. I have the bearded man, Mr. Pathy, with me today, as always. Eric, what's going on?
I'm here. I'm ready to roll. It is football week, guys. I know you have CFL up there in Toronto, Roof, but you got to be excited that it's college football.
Oh, we're talking about real football. Okay. Well, sorry, you lost me.
What do you mean? Al,
that's not right.
Al loves picking winners in the CFL.
Yeah, man. I'm going to have 4 plays in the CFL on Saturday. 2 sides, 2 totals.
Baby.
There you go. No, it's just. I prefer my college football. So,
we'll tell Chris, but I know you're doing well because of you've been tracking the leaderboards here at PickDawgz. He has been on an absolute money-making heater in baseball. Are you just seeing the season really well this time around, like in this time of the season, because there's more data? Like, what do you think gives you the edge in late August?
Honestly, it's just about gut feel, I think. Last year, there were times where, I couldn't hit water if I fell out of a boat, but that's just kind of what it's nature of the beast. You're going to have hot runs. You're going to have cold runs. But, for me, it's just treating it day by day, never getting too high after a good day, never getting too low after a bad one. You just start over the next day, stick to your routine, stick to what you know. And thankfully for me this season, it's kind of been that the ball's bouncing my way. So I'm just happy that I can keep it going.
Well, it's bouncing your way for a reason, and that's because you put in the homework. You do the right due diligence every single day. But my man, Big Al, I know he's excited for the fall because the volume train is here. There's no more break. He's going to have to shave. I don't know if it's no shave November.
I was looking. I know. I was looking at all four. All 4 of us have a little bit of beard.
No, don't shave.
Mine never goes away.
I want to see you with a beard, Al. Come on, don't shave.
No, my wife has been on my case for 5 days to shave. It should have been 5 days ago. I just haven't had time. Been handicapping football. But
you don't even have anything on your face, Al.
Oh God, yeah. You see all the white stuff.
When you've known Al as long as I have, you can kind of see the difference.
Well, Al's got he's mourning baseball, and he's ready for real football. Now, Al, let me ask you a question first. Week 0, I know we talked about this off screen before, that you don't really attack week 0.
Well, I call it week 1 anyway. I don't even call it week 0. That's a pet peeve of mine. I mean, it's week 1. Some teams aren't playing today, or this week, but it's week 1 in college football.
Fair enough. But is it something just week 1 in general that you don't dive in 100%? I mean, obviously you're spotting situations with systems, but
I mean, well, for the way I handicap, I'm reacting off wins and losses and trying to take teams that I think might bounce back from a bad game or might, have a letdown off a good game and so forth. So when it's the first game of the season, there's very little for me to be interested in. There are some things I do that I will have a play on. I will have 3 plays in this week and then next week's week 1, if you want to call it that. But yeah, I won't have 12 plays.
Well, 12's kind of light for you anyway. But
yeah, no, I mean, I looked at like last season in the next week when all the teams had played a game, I had 7 plays.
Right.
So, but I will have 1 play on Saturday. I will have 2 more plays the next week. And then after that, I'll have, it'll be back to normal.
Now, does that translate into NFL or that's just college?
Same as NFL, same thing.
Okay.
I mean, in the NFL, I may have 0, I may have 1. I haven't even handicapped week 1 of the NFL yet, but it'll be light if, I might not have anything. We'll just have to see how it goes.
Yeah, and as we discussed, Costi, he averages 150 college.
I mean, last season I had 150-ish, maybe more college, 150-ish NFL, but I had like 300 and some NBA, and I had what was it, 700, 600, 700, like college basketball.
Yeah, it was like 150, 150, 350, 650. It was 1,300 games, like around.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll have a ton of plays, once the season gets going. I can have 15 plays on a Saturday, but it's not going to be week 1 or week 2.
Now, what about you, Roof? How do you attack? I'm not going to call it week 0 anymore. I don't want to upset Al. Week 1,
it's dumb.
I get it. I'm saying, okay, I'm with you, Al. I just hear it. It's kind of part of the lingo. Week 0, week 0, week 0. But I get it. It's week 1. Well, what about you, Roof? Do you attack the first week because you do your homework in the off season, or how do you attack it?
Well, part of me is doing the homework because I write the articles for the website as well. So I'm kind of handcuffed into it's forcing me to do the research. But it's one of those things where if I see an edge, if it's week 0, sorry, week
we
1.
can call it week 0. I will allow. Us to call it week 0. I will give in on it. I just
week 1A.
Week 1A, I like it.
But either way, if I see an edge, I'm going to take it. I mean, the part of it is new schemes. I mean, we're not going to talk about games necessarily, but there are teams that have new coaches. With all the coaching turnover and the evolution of the transfer portal, we're seeing programs have complete turnover from one year to the next. And the mindset and the philosophy of these teams, what they run on offense, what they run on defense, can completely change from 2024 to 2025, as we already are going to be seeing with a few teams this season. So if I see something like that, even in week 1, I'm going to attack it. For me personally, I'm not maybe going to go too heavy on it, but if I see something, I'm not just going to let it pass by me. So that's kind of the way I look at it personally.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, I've always been, I always felt like September, the books don't know exactly what they're providing. I don't think the lines are as sharp from previous years' experience in the NFL as they are in September, as they are the second, third, and fourth quarter of the season. I feel like you can get away with, if you have the right data from previous years, how teams perform as a situational capper. At least from the guys that I get my games from, attack September. And so I don't know if it's year to year, if it changes, but from what I've seen over the years, I mean, you can make a lot of money right out of the gate if you spot play. And really it comes down to money management. We talk about this over and over, but you could have all the winners in the world and you could have all the data in the world. If you don't know how to manage your risk and you don't know how to get out of your own way, a lot of times that will cause you to chase. And look, I talk to clients. I happen to talk to a lot of the clients on a day-to-day basis. And even with the communication that I provide, I always get the same story. When you have a losing day, they start chasing and they bet double the next day to win back the losses from the previous day. They can't separate the days as two independent events. Or they like to, if you have a hot streak, where they call a winning streak, they think it's a winning streak because you've won 3 games, 4 games, 5 games in a row. So they believe they need to parlay your next set of games, which is also a no-no. So it's extremely hard to break bad habits. When you guys sell premium plays on the website, you don't know the outcome of what those games are being used for. You could be on an extreme high winning streak and you could have clients that still could be losing money with your winning streak. And so I get to see both sides of it. And even with my daily consulting and education to manage risk, no matter what I say, people's bad habits still play a big factor. So it's hard enough to beat the books, guys. Anybody that's watching right now are going to be watching the replay. It's hard enough to beat the books. You have to be disciplined. And Eric and myself have been in this industry for decades of teaching people discipline. And the guys below us on the screen, Chris is a situational handicapper, Big Al McMordie, 40 years of situational handicapping. Winning is actually, like Eric says, what do you say? Is the
winning is easy, betting is hard. But for all the viewers,
I look at it opposite.
well, for all the viewers out there, just for a little recap, how Al and I hooked up, and then I want to hear about how Chris got in the PickDawgz community. So Al and I hooked up because Al knew me because he originally, when he was under the age of 18, I believe, purchased picks from the person that I got the job working at of the company that I now own. Isn't that correct, Al?
Well, I mean, but Larry Ducart, I purchased. It was KO Sports back then.
Yeah,
it was like 1980, so I was 14 years old. Yeah.
So tell
how old was Chris? Hold on, I was -3. Chris, how old were you?
I don't even think I was a thought at that point.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. I didn't
so back then, we live in the computer world where people go on the line and they click a button. How did you actually purchase those picks in 1980, Al?
Well, you look back and you're just amused because I'm sure my voice was cracking back then as a 14-year-old, but Larry Ducart was more than happy to take my money. I mean, back then we sent money orders. We'd go to the post office. You would give them cash, and you would send a money order in the mail.
That's it. Old school. Back in the days, and again, back then, like I said, so let me ask you this: at 14, you were already obviously in betting sports. You were interested in betting sports, but how does a 14? I'm just curious. I just want to dive into this for a second. How does a 14-year-old, like I got the job working for Larry Ducart when I was 14 years old. Prior to walking into his office, I didn't even know anything about the pick selling business. So how does one who's 14 find out about even the opportunity to buy picks?
Oh, sure. Well, my father was a gambler, and he would bring home, the Minneapolis Line newsletter, the Gold Sheet. What was the other one? You'd have Texas Sports Wire's newsletter. Roger Larson. What was his called?
I get it.
National Sports Wire. He was in Oklahoma.
Yep.
No, that was Gary London. Roger Larson was Minneapolis Line. So yeah, he'd bring home all the newsletters, and I would read them.
Literally, we're having this conversation, and half the screen is the senior citizens. These guys have no idea what we're talking about. I literally remember like it was yesterday. That's so funny. And you remember? I'm just going to ask. We're going to date ourselves out. Ruffolo, do you know what a score phone is?
A what?
A score phone.
A what? I have no idea.
You have no idea what a score phone is.
It's a pager.
No, it's not. It's not a pager.
Not a pager. It's a phone number that you call to get updated scores in real time. In the old days, we would literally go to the phone.
They would update it every 10 minutes. So you would begin calling at literally like at 6:50, and you would just be on the phone for 4 hours straight, hitting redial the entire time, waiting for the message. And you'd have to listen to the promotional pitch before they went into the scores, and then you'd be literally on your phone for 4 hours straight, getting
literally that. So Duke would buy time on the score phone, and then he would update the score phone, but then do his promotions. And then like you said, the scores would be coming in. He'd have to change the score. Oh man, it was just crazy. But
I advertised on Pork Chops and Score Phone and the Texas Sports Wire Network.
Pork Chops.
Come on, you don't know who Pork Chops is?
Now you got my attention.
Now you got Chris's
Pork
attention.
Chop. His name was David Flynn, and his brother was Ben Flynn, and Ben went by the moniker the Texas Bounty Hunter.
Right. I remember.
I had a sports pager. I did.
Back then, everyone had kind of interesting names. You don't really see that as much today, which is kind of how I became boring.
Right, Duke was boring. It was Larry the Duke, like Larry the Duke Ducart. It was like.
But you had a lot of like Bob Stoll became Dr. Bob. I'm Big Al. But then you had the Texas Bounty Hunter. You had there's a lot of interesting names.
So believe it or not, Al, off the air, I'll send you the local score phone here still is being updated with ads and scores. I cannot believe
that must be an ATS Sports Consultants thing.
It's not. I don't want to say on the air who it is. I'll tell you off the air, but I'll just say it's
you're talking about the sports pager, right?
No.
The score phone.
No, score phone, not a pay. You pick up the phone and you dial a number. And here, hold on. Let me see if it actually works.
And Big Al, you know what? We still have
Which
nicknames.
phone hotline you're calling right now?
Chris is nicknamed the franchise. Still a very important name.
I like that name.
He is. He's the franchise.
It used to be dumbass, but now it's the franchise.
Thanks for calling the freeplays.com score phone, brought to you by freeplays.com.
So literally they're still going, they're still right. And I'm like, when I call it just to see if the line's been disconnected, I just can't even imagine that people if they can see the call count.
Yeah.
It's got
to be low. And one of the things, like I was just having a conversation with my wife yesterday, how to save some money. And I've had my 800 number for, I don't even put it on the websites or anything anymore because no one uses 800 numbers anymore. It's a vestige of the past. And I'm going to have to you used to get the bill, right? Where they would itemize every phone number that would call the 800 line. And it's the same thing with, any of these score phones. You could get the phone numbers and then you could, whatever. But I would hazard to guess that in the last 12 months, maybe 5 people called my 800 line because nobody, you don't have to pay for calls anymore.
Right. Exactly.
So yeah, you need to call the phone company up and cancel that thing.
We have a fan. Well, now that people are here just to see you, Chris, I do want to hear your story, how you came to PickDawgz, what's your background, how you got into sports handicapping. I know the story, but I want the fans to hear it as well.
I'm going to have to start calling Costi king of the Segway. But no, but for me, it literally started with sort of the same thing that you guys were just talking about. I was, betting on sports at 16. And the thing is up here in Canada at the time, sports books, like your main sports books that you have now, didn't exist. It was all government regulated. Like our sports betting system up here was, you treat it like you're going to play your numbers for the Powerball. You basically go to a grocery store, a convenience store, whatever. You fill out your slip, you hand it to the guy. You can bet $2 to $100.
The pro line?
Yeah, pro line, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And were the numbers pretty stale?
Oh, they were horrible.
So, Chris, I used to sell when I was 16. Some guy called from Canada and I was trying to give him a straight bet. He's like, no. So I went back to my partner. I'm like, we got to have a pro line package. So we just literally would sell pro line package picks.
So the reason I figured at the time that, kind of clicked, and maybe the infancy of the professional bettor in me knew that I was done with pro line was when I realized that the coin flip odds on pro line were minus 130.
Right.
If you're using the decimal, the coin flips were 1.7. And I was just like, no way. I gotta get out. Pro line was cool because you could do things like you could play the the winning margins. Like you could play the game to finish within 5 points either way for college. But that was how I made my that's how I almost got killed by the government. The government system. Pro line was I was betting college basketball games to finish within 5 points or to go to overtime. They were considered ties back then, and it was you could only parlay 4 ties on a ticket. But I'll tell you, you put like $20 on it, pays out $2,000. Those were my fun days. But that's where it started for me, and then it was kind of like, okay, well, some of these games I don't know. I want to bet it, but I don't know where to go. So I Googled, Blue Jays, blah blah blah, date, insert date here, prediction. And before PickDawgz, if you know, it used to be Sports Chat Plays. And Sports Chat Plays, the articles would come up. I would see some of our writers that are still writing with us now, and see some of their articles and how they got there. And one day, it I don't know if this is maybe kind of like a coincidence or just sort of how it happened. My page got hung up. And you know how when you keep scrolling and your page gets hung up and then the web page gets caught up and it scrolls too far? Well, that's what happened to me. My page scrolled too far, and I saw at the bottom of the page, join our team. I was like, okay, I could do that. I watch sports. I know these players. I do my fair share of sports betting. reached out, got a hold of Mitch, and he gave me my first shot. And he
immediately, or did he give you the FU first?
No, I kind of explained myself to him. I mean, at the time, I feel like I was very well spoken. Maybe not as much now. Maybe there's a little bit more profanity in a lot of my approaches to daily life. But no, he basically said, yeah, let's get on a call, let's talk about it. And he gave me the first article. I was kind of doing daily fantasy at the time, and the occasional article here. And I was like, okay, well, what do you think of this first one I did? He's like, this is shit. Pardon my French, but he's like, this is terrible. And from that point on, I kind of wanted to tell myself, okay, day by day, just get better. And as the writer progressed, the better progressed. And I kind of, like I said, when I was doing the research, I saw how much research not just had to go into week 1 of a football season, but on a 15-game baseball card, on a 4-game NBA card. The research and the amount of research that has to be done for me, more often than not, is still the same. And then it kind of just developed into who you see today.
That's awesome, man. No, you were working at a grocery store, right? Before you came.
I was working at Costco. Yeah.
You're working at Costco because that was like Mitch's big joke.
That was the bit. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the bit.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite type of
stories. You really like the Costco chickens? That's the most important question.
I could tell you stories about those chickens.
Not only the free
why our return policy had to change because of those chickens.
I just want to enjoy the damn chicken. Let me be.
Well, what is it there? $4.99 for a chicken?
I mean, here in LA, it's still, or I guess everywhere, it's still $1.50 for a hot dog.
There's a guy, I don't know if you.
The $1.50 hot dog will never change.
Have you guys, Roof? Have you seen on Twitter? There's a guy I follow. If not, I can send it to you. He's a comedian. He's an elderly gentleman, and he has the barcode for the chickens.
Yeah.
And you scan. He says, "Don't touch my chickens," and he scans the chickens.
Yeah. I thought about doing the same thing, except mine was going to be the hot dog, but it's neither here nor there.
Let me give some shout outs here. What's up, Dimitri in Boston? Dimitri just got swept by my Baltimore Orioles. I'll be going to the Baltimore-Boston game on Monday. I think you're going to be attending with me, Costi, and your wife.
I am, yeah.
Unfortunately.
What do you mean? Yeah, I can't stand it. Baseball is...
So this is the best.
Watching baseball in person is like watching paint dry.
It's the best baseball story ever. My son's like 7 years old, 9 years old. And as everybody on this panel knows, my son is high-functioning autistic. But what he cannot do is end an event regardless of the score. So it's me and Costi decide we're going to take my son to a game. He's like 7, 9, I can't remember, very young. It's in July. It's like 110 with the heat index. Costi and I are melting. It's like 17-0. The Orioles, like they're blowing this team out. It's the 7th inning. Hey, buddy, would you like to leave? No, it's not over yet. What if the other team comes back? It's like, it's not, there's no way statistically that the other team's coming back. It's 7th inning stretch. Costi says, I'm going to the bathroom. Kid's 7-9. I'm waiting. Costi, like, it's like the middle of the 8th, like the bottom of the 7th.
Costi never came back.
I texted him, like, dude, where are you? He's like, I took a cab home. It's too hot. So I have to explain to my son why Costi vanished because he didn't want to, but I had to wait till the end of the game.
It was the most brutal. It was like the sun was in our face. We're just sitting there roasting. Couldn't be a bigger blowout, but.
And then here's the funny thing. Every time I've been to Toronto, I don't know if you've been to Toronto, Al, but every time I've been to Toronto.
I've been to Skydome.
Yeah, so every time I've been to Toronto while baseball is playing, the last 7 times, for whatever reason, I've been to Toronto, they're on the road and they're traveling. Like, I want to go to
you got to come for a home game now. They've completely revamped that.
Well, why don't you actually schedule your trip around their home games?
Because that's not when a client says, "Come meet me in Scarborough."
I get it.
You know what I mean? A lot of big bettors in Canada. Don't overlook those Canadians up there. A lot of big bettors. Huh?
You say Scarborough?
I did.
There's no big bettors in Scarborough.
There was one when I went and met him.
Yeah, he moved.
Okay. He moved.
He moved somewhere else. I don't know where he moved to, but he moved out of Scarborough.
How's the weather by now? We know Al lives in perfect summertime, 12 months a year in lovely Los Angeles. I got to make sure I say it correctly. Los Angeles. Is it getting cold yet in Toronto?
Believe it or not, no, it's fine here. I came back from Vegas Monday because I was there for Bet Bash, and it was hot. But the thing was, I thought it was going to be a lot hotter than it was, and then it didn't feel that bad when I kind of got used to it. I came back here in the morning, and it was like 60, and I was like, I'm cold, but I missed this because I couldn't do that heat all the time. But
so I was going to ask you, of all the people I know, I think you go to Vegas more than anyone that I know. Do they just know at Border and Customs, oh, Chris is going to Vegas? Like they just know now when they see you walking?
No, but I think I'm getting closer and closer to a Nexus card. I think I'm just closer and closer.
What is that? What inform me?
It's like pre-check.
Okay,
gotta kind of go through, not have any issues. So,
did anyone recognize you at the sports books this year?
I had a couple people, recognize me. Yeah, one guy when I was picking up my suitcase at the Circa, he was like, "Hey, you," and I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, hey, what's going on?"
They take a picture?
So, no, he didn't. I'm trying to think of who else. There were a couple people that recognized me. The most random interaction I got was, and I believe, shout out Kenny, I believe his name was, came up to me when I was going up into my softball game a couple weeks ago. Like I was about to go just play co-ed softball at a community center. He's just like, I watch you every day, and my friend is a dog trainer. And he's like, I thought he was talking to him. I was like, why is he watching your videos every day, man? That's a lot. And then he was talking to me, and I was like, oh, okay. I was like, yeah, good to meet you, man. So we just kind of just shot the shit for a couple minutes, and it's still weird to me. And I know people are just like, oh well, when you meet famous people, they're just like, oh, I'm people just like me and you, and it doesn't feel that way to me when I meet someone that I look up to. But then it feels weird that I'm sort of saying the same thing when people come up to me.
Right.
Your franchise. That's it.
Because I'm just the same guy that goes to Raising Cane's and just like lives for it like twice a year whenever I can go to Vegas.
Well, I can tell you the funny story. I was telling Al this yesterday. So I took my daughter's car in for service, and the service manager, while I'm getting the oil change, and he says, "Can I talk to you for a minute? Can we step outside?" Okay. He says, "Listen, I watch you guys every day. I am on the biggest heater. I want to quit my job, and I want to be a professional." I said, "Dude, don't quit your day job." But it's like,
don't quit your day job.
It's like I get stuff like that. I call Costi. I'm like, I was just trying to get an oil change. The guy's telling me he's hitting 90%. It's like, and then obviously you have Costi with the framed Lamar behind him. He walks into Robbie's first base, and Robbie's
not framed Lamar. It's framed Ray Lewis.
Right. And you walk in, and he knew you. He was watching you on the channel.
Yeah, he's a big fan. He actually he loves watching Ron's rundown, where he gets a lot of people that watch the channel don't happen to be guys that are buying or women, and that's why this community is so vast. A lot of people just watch for the content against their own predictions to help them make their own bets. And then there's that's what Mitch created, which is we have something for everybody, whether you just want to watch the free predictions that the individual handicappers do, or somebody like Ron's rundown that breaks down every single baseball game on the card. Or if you're somebody that's a little bit more serious, you could buy the best bets from any of the personalities that you could literally track the live leaderboard, which is extremely accurate to the minute. And then if you're somebody that's on the business side of betting that wants to take it to the next level, and you want a consultant like Eric or myself to guide you with the money management on some of the bigger programs, like Big Al has an all access up 700% since we started in September of 2023. I mean, that's outperforming crypto. People want to sit there and dive into.
Really? I'm outperforming crypto. That's pretty good then, huh?
You tell me if Bitcoin has made 700%.
I'm 59. I don't know anything about Bitcoin, but
yeah, Big Al. I like that. I got a rise out of you though. Big Al is outperforming crypto. So Stuff
Oh,
like
my
that,
goodness.
man. It's all real and transparent. We share the data, and
Well-
Chris is on a heater. Look at his leaderboard on his best bets. I mean, we have a product for everybody. It just depends what you're in for and what you really want.
And if anybody wants to ask any questions of any specific person on this panel, they can just type them in, and then Costi will post them up. But we were talking. Al and I were talking because obviously, Al's been doing this 46 years. This is my 39th September doing this for a living. Unbelievable. About unrealistic expectations. There's a thing in finances literature, as Alan and everybody should know, past performance is no indication of future results, yada, yada, the disclaimer. And heaters happen, losing streaks happen, everything happens. But I think that the biggest thing is the psychological aspect. It was funny because I did a video with Al yesterday, and then I brought it up in my personal video about how the guys that seem, and I coined a phrase yesterday, that seem to do very well, especially the clients that are syndicate members, whether with Micah's product or Al's product, the VIP All Access, they once a week I'll have a 15, 20-minute pathy pep talk, I call it. Costi hears all these. He hears me. And then Costi must laugh because I'm basically repeating the same thing to every client. It's the same thing I'm repeating over and over again. But sometimes you need that reinforcement, especially coming off a losing week. Al had 1 week last year where he was, 16? You were 16 and what?
Oh, 5 days. Yeah, November 16th through November 20th, 16 and 29. It wasn't even a week. It was just 5 days.
So here, check this out. Up 507 units following the All Access. I still have clients talking to me about that 5-day period now. It's like the ability to remember and recall the losing streak with absence of so I got to give these guys these pep talks. So, as we get into football season, a lot of this show, because we're not talking about picks like the typical shows that you and Ruffolo do, Al, it's a lot of it's the pep talk side of it to be as level-headed as you possibly can be. I know everybody's excited that football is this Saturday. We obviously know that some people are going to over-leverage and bet more than they normally bet. If they were going to bet X dollars on a baseball game, they're going to go absolutely berserk this weekend. And I get the fun factor if it's within your wagering goals and means. But just because you see the pigskin now doesn't mean you got to blow your bankroll out in the first week.
Here's a message. Let's give this one to Al. I can read it. Would you explain when we wager, are we to bet 100 or whatever the chosen unit size, or
Sure.
bet to win 100?
You can do whatever you want. Just be consistent. The way PickDawgz grades, and I've always graded, it's more because the math is easier. I'd rather have it 110 to win 100 than 100 to win $90.90.90909 or whatever. It just makes all the math easier when you're figuring out your record to do it. When you bet 110 to win 100, and if you're betting on a money line sport, it's if you lay in $1.30 on a baseball team, you're going to lose 130 or win 100, and if you're betting on an underdog, you're going to win 120 or lose 100. It just makes the math, the numbers round, and that's why we do it that way. But you can do it any way you want.
That would be my exact answer as well. I don't think there's one way or the other. Whatever you do, just stay consistent. That's what I've always told people.
Now, I will say this, the caveat, some of the big baseball syndicates that I know, they do risk, not win. So if it's a favorite and it's minus 200, they're risking 1,000 to win 500. And if it's an underdog plus 200, they're risking 1,000 to win 2,000. So what stays the same in baseball is no matter, every loss is the same unit value. The win is less on the favorite side, but every loss is the same unit value.
Yeah. Just be consistent. There's no right way or wrong way.
All right, guys, any other questions? Feel free to post them in the comments section, and we'll have somebody from the panel answer them live on air. Now,
well, let me ask you, Chris, and Al and I have discussed this. Al's had not yet. He may not have any preseason. But Chris, have you been playing preseason?
Minimally, and only if I see something that I kind of really like. But it's kind of like and not to mention too many games, but like the trend of the Ravens in the preseason kind of went away in the last couple of years. But yeah, I've hopped on it here and there, and there are teams where when I bet on the preseason, I like depth. If I see a serious edge in depth, considering that we're going to be seeing backups and third stringers for the majority of the game, that's when I really jump on it. Sometimes you have coaches that treat it a little bit more seriously as well. But other than that, I only bet, like I said, some especially like preseason, I only bet it when I really have an edge on the game.
Are you doing anything tonight on the Pittsburgh, Carolina, or Patriots Giants matchup?
I was leaning toward the total in the Giants game. I wanted to play this Steelers money line, but 230 is a little bit rich for me, maybe as a parlay piece for anybody, but that was just my thoughts on it.
And what's your position in terms of how much of your personal betting do you do parlays, or do you not do them at all?
I do them for fun. Like I was talking to somebody the other night and just telling them, when I was in Vegas, I was playing bubble craps. Like, why would you do that? You're bubble craps.
They're craps in a bubble.
Yeah. I was just like, because as much as I do this professionally, I still like to have fun. You know what I mean? Like I still like to throw $100 into a bubble craps machine or just throw something on a parlay just for fun. But the majority of my actual, working, I should say betting, like, for professionals is straight bets. I'll never advise anybody to bet a parlay before I advise them to bet a straight game. But I'd be lying to you if I said I didn't at least just, throw a couple bucks on a parlay here and there.
So Seth asked, how much should someone increase their unit size for a play of the month if they are a flat better? Well, that question, it's a loaded question because it could go either way.
I want to see Al smiling. What's your answer?
I'll try not to laugh about someone talking about increasing.
Okay, so if you're a member of the All Access Club, you get the ratings. We rate them 10 through 1. So that game of the month, for example, if I've got a game of the month, it depends on what this game is. It could be a 1-star, could be a 5-star, could be a 10-star. And the ratings would dictate what you would put on it. But if you don't have the ratings, if you're playing every game the same, then on the premium side, I would say play every game the same.
Yeah, and I see a lot of the handicappers post that as their plays on the handicapper page. Unfortunately, they're all rated the same. That just means the system is really strong that they really like, but everything is rated on the premium side exactly the same. So I would not recommend increasing your unit size. I would stay just like when we answered Macy earlier about winning 100, the unit size, whatever you're doing, stay consistent. If you're going to be buying plays on the premium section of PickDawgz where everything is rated the same, whatever you buy, make sure you bet it the same.
But Al, we had this same situation 3 days ago because your game of the month was a 1-star and people were
correct, but that's because we have to explain all for example, all my WNBA plays are 1-stars. I only have plays rated 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in NFL, college football, NBA, college basketball. I don't do it in WNBA. So I've got my WNBA conference game of the month today. It's a 1-star play because as a matter of policy, all my WNBA games are 1-stars because I don't have the amount of data on WNBA that I do in college football, college basketball, NFL, and NBA. It's just my second year handicapping the WNBA. I don't have the confidence as I do in the other leagues. So for now, they're all 1-star plays.
I mean, I will say for me on the premium side, if there is a time where I ever feel strongly enough about a game where I would, it encourage someone to increase their unit size, I'll let them know in the write-up for that game. I think that's why it's always important to, read the write-up. Some people just grab the picks and just sort of take it on the surface. But there are times where in the write-up I'll be like, I really like this play, or, sometimes I'll put, a ranking on it, just how much I really like it. But it's few and far between on the premium side, but that's at least for me.
Yeah, but again, that is one of the big benefits of the All Access is the games are rated 10 through 1, and it can, shepherd the client through all the games. When you got 10 games on a Saturday, which ones are the 8s, which ones are the 6s, which ones are the 9s, etc.
Here's Mangala.
Magalia Meta.
Magalia Meta.
Mangala.
Sorry if I butchered your name. Chris, this one, I'm going to let you answer this one. If I am a new
Ruben Meta. Go ahead.
and want to start betting, I am new and want to start betting a sport, which should I target? And which is difficult to bet more than the other?
I think they're all difficult.
I'm laughing because we talk about this stuff all the time.
For the way I approached it was that I watched pretty much everything growing up, so it was like there was nothing that I wasn't familiar with. I will say, if you're just somebody that's just randomly getting into it, when you develop, and the more you develop, and just for the only term I can think of is the thicker your skin gets in this game, you can realize that there's edges betting on maybe smaller conferences in college basketball or college football. But, just on the surface, the easy answer would probably just be like, games that are the most easily accessible to get information on, like NFL, NBA, stuff like that. But there's not always an easy access to information in game film for SWAC basketball. You know what I mean? So it's like, you can find edges there, but I think if you're new, go with the ones where you can get the most information. But you also got to keep in mind that those are also the sports that are going to have the most eyes on them and the most fluidity in terms of the betting markets, in terms of, the odds always changing and getting the most betting action. So I probably answered that question by not answering it, but for me, it's just go with what you know and go with what you've been watching.
Al, a client texted me instead of putting it on the comment. He said, what is the difference between an extra game and an added game? Does Al know? And I said he probably does.
Of course I know. Yeah. But I was actually pulling up the record from last year just to look at it real quick, because this was, when Chris was talking.
Right.
The answer, I'll just add to what Chris said. The answer is everyone's different.
Right.
I don't buy into the theory that smaller conferences are easier to beat. I think Big Ten and SEC can be beat just as easily. One handicapper may be, specialized in hockey and maybe specialized in smaller conferences, and everyone does this differently. So it's different for everybody. There is first of all, nothing's easy. Okay, let's just put that out there. This is all hard. Very few people win. 1% of the people win, which means it's not easy. But if you're just looking at the 1% of the people who win, we all do it differently. So what's easy or what might be good for me is not going to be good for Chris's, and vice versa. So it's, that's just the one thing you have to understand. As far as the extra games, I have to put on my glasses and just look.
And while you're looking at that, Al, I wanted to clarify the statement earlier when I said I always say winning is easy, betting is hard. What I meant is the client that purchases one of the 1% handicappers, the win is easy. If they want to tail a professional, the betting is hard because they get limited. There's a lot of reasons there. Okay, so I had this conversation with a very sharp player the other day, and there's this mindset out there that what was just said, that the extra games, the smaller conferences, the limits are lower, they're easier to beat, and so forth. I don't buy that. The limits are lower, but that's anyway. But I'm looking at my record on the extra games last year, 76 and 57. It's the exact same percentage as the major conferences. Like for me, it doesn't mean for everybody, but for me, I can beat the Big Ten as easily as I can beat the extra conferences. It doesn't make a difference. But what's hard is to get down. And you were talking about parlays. I don't believe in parlays. I think it's a waste of time. But I did do some parlays last year, because if I'm betting $5,000 to $25,000 a game on my plays, I can't get $20,000 on an extra game. So the only way to get the exposure on that, Jackson State Grambling game is to maybe parlay it with something else. So the question I want to ask you, elaborate, why do the sportsbook give you lower limits on the extra and added games if it's just a game?
They shouldn't, in my opinion, but they have less handle on the games.
Right.
But I mean, from my perspective, what the hell is the difference between Kent State and Toledo and Jackson State Grambling? I mean, I don't see the difference.
Don't leave out Pacific. Don't leave out Pacific.
No. But I mean, like, these are games that
I was a little jab it out.
I mean, if you watch these games and the talent, I mean, there's very little talent, in the Mid-American Conference also. Like, it's, for them to distinguish, the MEAC from the MAC, I just think is a stretch. I don't agree with it, but that's what they do.
Let me ask you, Roof, since you're in Canada, do you have access to every college football game, and how does that affect your college football handicapping? And you said you grew up watching everything, but I don't know, you can correct me if I'm wrong, were all the big, Owls and alumni from Michigan, were all the Michigan games and Ohio State games broadcast in Canada growing up?
I'll preface it by saying this: I have access to the majority of the games that I want to watch because I find ways to make them accessible to me. If you're just talking about just like the general person, the NCAA is not really all that prevalent. Like, you'll get your nationally televised games because we still do get feeds to, your ABCs, your CBSs up here, your NBCs if you want to watch Notre Dame. And then they'll cover certain conferences on like the regional networks. But at the same time, you're not going to be able to get access to Bowling Green, Toledo if it's not Tuesday night action, like if it's not on an island. Like,
and I'm assuming the Pro Line was simply pro sports. It wasn't college.
So the thing about Pro Line was that they only at a certain point they only had 99 rotation numbers. So, and usually 1 to 16 was saved for NFL. And if it was like a busy time of year, like your Octobers, Novembers, so let's say November, where you had NFL, you had college football, college basketball on a Saturday. There were times where I wanted a game for college football that I thought would be there, but the amount of games didn't allow for it to be there. So I wouldn't have access to it unless I was able to find a sports book, which at the time when I was relying on that on ProLine did kind of suck. But it was what it was, and I was kind of at the mercy of ProLine at the time.
I think it was the state of Oregon or Washington that had the same format. They only had the parlay availability for years.
Well, Delaware.
Well, is that right, Al? It was Washington or Oregon?
I think it was Oregon and Delaware, yeah.
Delaware was, it still is.
What do you mean?
Delaware, remember, for growing up, we had to drive to Delaware to put in the parlay cards growing up.
Right.
Forever. So they've been on the same parlay ticket, and if the games aren't on there, you're not getting action on it. I think now we have so many outs. I mean, that's my business has been for the last 15 years is finding outs and finding different opportunities to get money down with different accounts and different syndicates. We have a guy that we're very close with. The name's David Miller. His entire business model is outs. He needs to bet in as many accounts as possible because he will churn and burn the accounts to the casual, recreational sports bettor. They don't understand getting limited or getting cut off. To the pro, like you could, Big Al could attest to this. You get limited, and then they don't want your action anymore.
You get limited, you get cut off, you get stiffed.
All of the above. Right, exactly.
And that leads me to my next point. That's why we're in this business, because you could have all the information in the world. Big Al could have the strongest database in the world. Chris could have a very effective baseball, football, basketball model. But if we're getting limited all the time and we're getting cut off and we're getting stiffed by books, we resell the information because that's our way of earning money.
That's not the reason I'm in the business, but it's mutually exclusive. I would be in the business whether I had those problems or didn't have those problems. So,
yeah, let me tell you, I speak for myself. That's why I'm in it, because I have to regenerate these plays and be a broker. And, you know, it's no different than if I was in the business of being in a hedge fund. You know, if I would have the same commitment and the same passion for it, knowing that I have these groups and these big players behind me, and to be able to present that on a silver platter to a recreational trader.
And just remember, like, Al and I, because we talk a lot throughout the day, he was aware a guy called me because he had an edge with legal sports books the other day. And I said, you think you have an edge. These sports books, maybe they lag for like a week or two. Like they figure out, like, I'm not going to get into what his edge was, Al knows, but like if it was that easy just to exploit these books before they limit you, everybody would be doing it, right? It sounds nice in theory. People come up with all these ideas. I will say a little bit. A lot of people think they can figure out how to maximize bonuses in legal sports books. And again, that only goes so far. You're not going to make a long-term living doing that. The reality is, like Al said, you got to pick more winners and losers and have the right methodology. You know, if you flat bet Al's games last year, you were up 120 games. So I'll give you an example right now, and it's relevant. Top of the third inning, the Athletics are winning 6-0 against the Twins. I know a group that what they would do is, Al knows people that do this also. They'll go in, they'll open 1 million sports books. Al's shaking his head. They'll live bet right now the Twins for the comeback, and they do that because it's so early in the game. I'm not. Everybody watching this, don't log into your sports book. I'm not giving you.
I would book that bet. I would take the Athletics to hold on to that lead.
Right, but you know what the shot hitters do at the legal.
I mean, are you guys doing this on purpose?
But
I have the Twins. I have the Twins. Are you guys just digging at me on purpose?
I didn't even know that you had the Twins. Oh.
No, there's. I'm not going to say who it is, but I know someone who does that. And he had 34 bets on a day, and it was all trying to take teams to come back, and he went 0 for 34.
But you did say that when he hits, he hits.
Yeah, and he's a net loser.
Right. But like sports books will actually limit you if they see that behavior. Like some guy comes in, he's going to bet 1,000 on, I don't even know what the odds are on the Twins live line right now, to come back. And you do that enough times, and they have people that just sit there and watch for these mispriced underdogs, and then they get limited. So like you still have to have a winning strategy, a winning handicapper. And like Al said, there's a lot of handicappers out there. It's hard to win. Roof, how's your baseball season been? I know you've been on a heater.
Up and down. It started out slow, but finally got back into the profit as of yesterday. So just trying to keep it.
Are you a mixed total sides guy? I don't look at yours. I haven't.
Mostly sides. I've dabbled in the total. The only time I used to be big into totals, but I've only started dabbling back into totals when I really see something I like. But mostly for me now, it's been sides.
Do you have like a cutoff on the money line, or you'll like lay the Dodgers minus 300 like they lost yesterday?
No, minus 170, I think is
your cutoff
for a straight. That's the farthest I'll go.
Got it.
Minus 180 is rare for me, but I will. I'm still of the camp that I'll still lay runs if I have to with odds just to kind of get the price down. But
well, good news. If you followed Roof for the last 60 days, you're up 19 net games. So everybody's in a different spot. Depends when you join. All I'm seeing that you're in the plus for the season. That's awesome. And that I want to segue into like what you're selling for this upcoming football season. What's the best product to buy from you as we head into the football season? So
I wanted to, before we expound, Al, I checked 4 sports books as I was talking. They pulled the money line off the board on the Twins. Okay. So they also play games like that, right? I'm trying to log in and get a price down. They'll give you the plus 5.5 minus 105, right? But they won't give you.
Oh my God. Who left the door open?
Now
we left the door open.
There he is. Got the whole crew up here today. What are we selling, guys?
I don't have you guys on the screen, so who's here?
Jay Briggs.
Oh, hi, Jay.
I just came to say hey.
You might as well. This is like the pre-football launch party.
Man, man. We're here, man. We're out of the dog days, man. Shit.
Well, you're here to hear what Chris is gonna. What's the best product this football season for you?
I'm going to be having a combo pass up very, very shortly for my college football and NFL. I'm going to have each one available as a season pass too, but for strictly football, the combo pass is going to be the way to go. I'm going to call it my All Out Blitz season pass. So if you want access to every single college football play that I make on the board and NFL play, that's going to be the way to go. But there's also value to hopping on the long terms, because if you're looking to bet everything, baseball, WNBA, football, and eventually when we get to college basketball and NBA and NHL, the long-term pass, just the generic long-term pass, are a great way to go because you're going to get access to everything. But if we're talking about just football, I'm going to have a combo pass up very, very shortly.
Hop on with the franchise. Kind of feels weird saying that, Jay. That's what Jay usually says. Well, Eric, why don't you let us know about what you and Big Al are doing for this upcoming season?
Before I do that, I just want to say something to Chris, to Jay, to Al, to you. I just thought about it. It is really wild. It's the first football season without Mitch. So just weird. Just thought about that this second. Sorry. So just go to somebody else.
Yeah, it hit me like a ton of bricks probably like yesterday. I'm like, damn. But continuing this legacy, man. It's that time of year. All gas, no brakes. Ready to break it down, man. Starting Saturday.
What do you got going, Costi? While I get my oxygen in my lungs.
Well, it's before I even get into that, today on my time hop came up where we posted last year, this exact day, 250,000 subscribers. So, 200,000 subscribers on this exact day last year, August 21st. So for us to be at 253 now and continuing the legacy that the GOAT Mitch Wilson laid out for us, it's just a blessing to be able to be on this platform, to continue not only to be on the winning side, but be on the positive side of living on this extended legacy for what he's built. But in terms of what I'm doing, I'm working with Jay Yang exclusively on the baseball product, which has been exceptional. Yes, we have the Twins right now. I know of a lot of fans watching. We're not doing great. Down 6-0 in the second or third inning. I haven't checked it, but he does NFL. He does not do college football. He does do NBA and college basketball. So if the clients that have been watching his video series, the guy's literally wakes up at 4 a.m. Right now he's in Vietnam, and he wakes up at 4 a.m. to do the video with me, Al. So
good man if you say that. South Korea, right? South Korea.
No, he's traveling. He's actually in Vietnam right now. So that literally it's 4 a.m.
Got it.
And so if you're interested in something where you want my consulting and have me in your cell phone to be able to communicate with on the money management side, you can reach me. My number's right under premium picks on PickDawgz.com. Eric?
You know what, I got the Dime Club. I have 3 services on the Dime Club based upon your bankroll, your wagering goals and needs. I am going to be launching, and I'll put out a message on the Telegram channel, my halftime product, which I do every year, and a money line product, kind of like the Underdog channel that I do. Everybody knows I only play dogs in baseball. I never play favorites. 85 and 80 since the All-Star. 45 and 40 since the All-Star break, plus 22.5 units, only up 5 games, but that's how much the dog money pays. And then, as always, I represent Big Al McMordie, all access, up 507 units last year. I field calls for him. When you join Al's All Access, as we discussed, you get the ratings 1 to 10 units. You also get the games on Telegram versus logging into the website like you do here at PickDawgz.com. There is a cutoff time when to enter the plays, 8 o'clock Al's time, 11 a.m. Pacific Eastern Standard Time. And then Al has a lot of systems that he doesn't fire and trigger till it hits an appropriate line. So Al, a lot of times it was about 50 to 60 games last year. You'll wait till that line moves.
Yeah, I think I remember one time it was on a Saturday, and I released a play. Was it on Stanford or Southern Cal? Maybe it was Southern Cal, but it was like literally 8 minutes before the game went.
Exactly.
We did get a complaint from a client about that.
We did. We got one complaint. But, you get access. And then as we discussed on our videos that we do, you can ask about, within reason, not 10 other games. And if you're playing Al's games, you're going to get enough quantity. But, we were like, not we, Al was like 90%, 99% last year. Every time a client, a lot of it was clients that were actually physically going to an event. Hey, I'm taking my kids to this college football game. What does Al think? I might as well put some money on it. And I would give out the recommendation back, and he happened to be spot on every single time.
Yeah, I think most of those extra 40, 50 games that go to the all access but don't go to the PickDawgz. And just so people understand, as you mentioned, PickDawgz, the premium side, we have to put in the games by 11 a.m. But I have the luxury on Telegram to put out a game at 4 p.m., 5 p.m., etc. Most of the plays that I do put out later, it's not 8 minutes before the game. That was just
right.
The one. But yeah, so that's another advantage. You get the ratings, you get extra games along the way, and if you go 30 and 20 on those 50 extra games, and you're betting, that pays for the service itself. Just
exactly.
Just having the extra game. So.
And then Dallas.
And, one more, yeah. What are the Cowboys selling this year?
Hey, man, I'm selling the world. I'm trying to buy it at least. If you want to help me buy it, you can get on my sports plays. Right now, a lot of baseball dog days of summer. Been putting up some solid units in the WNBA. Baseball, not my strongest suit, but with football right on the horizon, that's my second strongest suit, right behind basketball. So we got college football week 0 starting this week. I'll have a play there. I'll have like Chris said, I'll have my package up for college football up later today. NFL package will be up later today, and I'll have a combo pack for both. So it's that time of year, ready to pump it up.
So the question for you, Jay. Jay came in late, Al. He wasn't in the beginning of the show. Week 0.
We can call it week 0. I give.
Al has a pet peeve about week 0, Jay. Just letting you know.
He says it's week 1.
It's week
not
1.
Week 0.
And Roof said it's week 1A.
I ain't mad at that.
But hey, Jay, I'm looking here. Did you put a futures bet on the Cowboys plus 5,000? It says there's an implied 2% chance of winning the Super Bowl based on the recent odds. I'm getting this off artificial. I AI'd it. What's the odds of Dallas Cowboys? This is the AI overview. The Dallas Cowboys are considered a long shot to win Super Bowl with the odds of plus 5,000. The implied chance of a 2% chance of winning the Super Bowl based on the recent odds. These odds place the Cowboys 18th in the league according to blah, blah, blah as of August 21st. For reference, the Cowboys preseason odds were plus 1,800 and have dropped significantly to plus 5,000. So did you get that good price at plus 5,000?
How many hats can you put on a head?
We them boys, baby. We'll see y'all Thursday opening night, man. We'll see y'all then. The whole world watching.
But
Al, before we go, what's in the history? I mean, you may not know this.
If I don't cut Eric off, Chris, we might be on the show for about 3 hours.
The team that's won the Super Bowl, let's say for the last 5 or 10 years, I mean, is it usually the teams in the top, or like, has there ever been an underdog, crazy underdog that if you would have bet that futures price in the beginning of the season, or is it pretty much too competitive in the NFL? You're not going to get that like dog.
I don't know. I
would say the
don't
Ravens
have.
back
I don't.
in 2000.
I'm sure there's been some crazy, like the St. Louis Rams would be a great example back in Kurt Warner when they won it.
Got it.
That
Patriots
one year they
Brady
came
the first year.
Yeah, exactly.
There's
I'd have to pull up the Super Bowl champions and find all the years where it was a team out of nowhere that won it. But lately it's been the Kansas City Chiefs. So there you go.
For all of our clients, are you going to be putting out a preseason futures? Futures in the NFL or not this year?
I will. I mean, going to wait till the games are played this week, see who gets injured, who doesn't get injured, and then make my decision. So.
Roof, are you a big futures better?
Not really, because I don't like having my money tied up for that long. But if I do see something that jumps off the board, like I will hop on it, like I did today with the Yankees and the Mets to miss the playoffs at plus 6,000.
But I will say this.
That was
don't bet enough money. You know, like if futures bets, you know, put $1,000 on. Like, don't tie up a ton of money. Like, it's not, you know, it's you know, I mean, I don't bet like that much on my futures stuff relative to like my, you know, 1-star plays, for example, or whatever. So for me, it's just a fun bet.
There you have it, guys. I know we've been having a really good time, but the hour of power goes by extremely fast. So thank you, Chris. Thank you, Al. Happy hunting in this upcoming football season as we get into basketball season. Start my favorite time of the year. So thank you again for being on the show, and we will be back next week, same time, 1 p.m. As always, Tales from the Ticket. Everyone have a great